Hi everyone, this is Doc,
I'm Hallie.
and today we are going to talk about doing past life readings.
Now this one's going to be a little bit on the... We don't agree on this one so much.
Yep.
But that's okay, because what our channel is about is the fact that we don't have to agree. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong, because really in the end, nobody knows.
And it's always up to you, the individual,
it's your perspective,
to decide what works for you and what doesn't.
But I had a client who sat down with me and I was doing a past life reading, and they said, well, how do you know this is my past life? And I said, well, that's a good question. A lot of us past life readers go to the Akashic and follow the energy back to their file or folder, or whatever you want to call it, book, and get the information. But I started thinking about it, and when we die, when we pass from this life to go to spirit, it's kind of my belief that we go into a healing phase, like you. We go into a healing phase and we drop our humanity. We drop who we are in this lifetime, physical wants, desires, needs, all of that. And then we start a life review, and we go through that phase, and then we decide what it is we want to do when we come here again, when we reincarnate. And then if we have time, I think we go back to the collective.
Okay, and explain to me what the collective is.
Well, what we would consider heaven, source, whatever you want to name it.
Okay.
Just a space where we all go to kind of wait it out until our next life. Well, when you're there, it's like a big party, a big reunion. We all get together and chit-chat about different things, and we absorb each other's knowledge and the whole knowledge of the universe. And I think when we break off from that again, we take little pieces of other energy.
Okay.
It would be like oil and water. When the oil or the water breaks off, you always get these little droplets that get attached to them.
Okay, I see this, I understand.
Yep. So when we come back as a reader, I think sometimes we might link on to that other energy versus their energy, only because we can't recognize the difference between the two.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with the collective. I don't think that as a soul, even once we've gone through the afterlife and we've done the life review and we decide on the lessons we want to learn, and we contract with the specific souls to help us learn those lessons. If we choose not to, I believe that the soul remains in the astral. It remains a specific individual consciousness. We have the ability to connect with other souls, if you will, but I don't believe that energy rubs off on us. From my perspective, I believe that each lifetime, the soul retains all that information from lifetime to lifetime, and it's almost like accessing a DVD, if you will, of someone's life. And I review that DVD to see specifically, of course, when I'm looking at past lives, I'm primarily looking at something specific that will help my client understand why they're going through what they're going through in their present life. So I'm not so big on the collective idea. I don't think that that's actually what happens. I know we have our soul groups, we have our family groups, and so on and so forth. But I don't think we go back to source.
Well, and I when we come here, I also think another option is what I call piggybacking.
Okay.
So there is an original soul, and I think we've talked about this in another video, the original soul of a famous person. Other people want to experience being famous, and so that soul allows other people to piggyback.
Okay.
Same thing. You may think that you were that person. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
You were just simply going along for the ride to have the experience of being famous, but you weren't the original soul.
Oh, I agree with 100%. I see that all the time. I have people come in and say, I was Queen Elizabeth.
But I think that's what happens when we draw away from source, and I know you don't believe in the source, but that's what I also...
I believe in source, but I believe source is also infinite, and it is given, if you will, source's gift to the soul is the ability not only to have free will, but to explore and to grow and evolve as it wishes to. So how much it takes to get back to source, that I can't answer.
And I also think that's also a choice too. I do think that source is a place that you can go, or maybe you don't go. I mean, it is. I do agree with you that we do have that choice. We don't have to go back to source.
No.
If you want to go to another planet or go here or go there, you can go do whatever it is that you want to do.
Surely, yes, absolutely.
But I do think some of us decide to go back, whether it be because you need additional information about something, or maybe you're looking for no new soul group.
It's a possibility, yes. Yes.
So then you go back to source and you start looking for, because maybe your lessons that you learned were done.
Okay.
So you go back and you're like, okay, well, I need to learn a whole new set of lessons, but I need a whole new set of souls to do this with.
Well, it just occurred to me that what I call the astral plane, you call source.
Could be.
Could be.
But I think the astral plane is neutral. I think the astral plane is where we go to create things. It'd be like the holodeck on Star Trek.
Okay.
And any soul can go there, and it's a blank canvas. And doesn't matter where you incarnate from. That is where we can all go to have a blank canvas, a safe space. I go there to meet my spirit guides. I'll go there to get information. But it's just neutral.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
And if I don't want anybody there doesn't have to be anybody there. It's like my room. You can go and close the door and...
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that as a soul, we have to keep in mind, souls have free will on the other side as well. It's not just here in the physical world. On the other side, we have free will. We can do whatever we want to do. Now, we have to keep in mind, though, that if you choose not to reincarnate when you have the opportunity, you have to be in service to other souls.
And see, there I disagree with you.
So you have to be doing something in service to other souls.
If we have free will, true free will, we don't have to do anything.
Well, that's a good point. That's an excellent point.
If we have true free will, we don't have to do anything.
That's true.
We can sit there on our butts and just kind of waste the years away.
Yet, in everything that I've experienced, given readings, and everything I've read, the soul really doesn't look at it that way.
They don't, and that's the difference. As a soul, we want to be doing something. We want to be learning something. We want to be experiencing something. We want to have our lessons. And so we don't just not do anything, but we have to accept the fact that there probably are some souls that don't want to do anything. Just like people.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of people here who don't want to do anything.
Very much so.
And I'll bet you their souls the same way. So, and maybe it's the lesson that they're learning is to not do anything.
And that could very well be.
Yeah.
It's very possible. Yes. Of all people ask me, or sometimes someone will sit down at my table and they'll say, "I know this is my last lifetime."
I laugh.
Yeah. I just kind of chuckle inside, and my answer to them is, well, it may not be your last, it may be your last lifetime on Earth for the moment.
For the moment.
But you're going to go to different realities. You're going to go to different planets, different dimensions, and once you've had your little vacation, you're going to come back to Earth.
Now, I have had one lady who it was her last least for the next, probably 1,000 years or so, Earth years.
Yeah.
She was going to go off and do something else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to keep in mind that the Earth, coming to Earth, carrying the body around, the physical body around, is extremely difficult for the soul. The body is physically very heavy. And so we go to different realities to give the soul a break.
Yep.
Doesn't have to carry around that heavy body again. But the truth is...
Well, that's also why we don't just turn around and reincarnate the minute we leave Earth.
Oh, no, definitely not. Well, there are some exceptions. There are exceptions. However, this little blue ball is the premier school. I always call it the University of Earth. So we do come back here, but we have the right to go to, and the freedom to go to other dimensions. So it's an interesting concept. I believe that each soul has a library of all the lives that it's experienced, including ones, and you do the soul forms readings.
I do soul forms, yeah.
If I go into doing it, and I've had one individual ask me, I want to know about the lifetimes that I've lived not on Earth. He was very shocked.
Yeah.
When I explained to him the different life forms that he had been, he was stunned. But I was as well.
Yeah.
Because I had no concept. We have the idea of aliens and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but there's so much more.
More.
When you start receiving some of this information, you're like, well, I don't even know if this is true or not, because it seems so bizarre.
It does. And he was totally shocked.
Yeah.
And so when someone sits down and says, I want to see my lifetimes outside and off of Earth, I'm going, are you sure you really want to?
Are you sure you want to?
Yes, you may not get what you think you're going to get.
Yeah.
So, but for me, the soul has that library, like I say,
And I believe in the library. I just think that sometimes we absorb other people's energy and absorb other people's lifetimes, and sometimes we bring that with us here because it is knowledge that we needed or wanted or absorbed. It's no different than going to the library and picking up a book and reading it and then having it in your brain.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And if somebody could read our brain, they may not know the difference between our dreams versus something that we read.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And we also have to keep in mind, and on that particular vein of other people's energies, if you're not good about cleansing your aura, we have as part of our aura, we have the etheric layer, and there are some disciplines, the Theosophical Society, their particular philosophy is that the soul takes the etheric body and uses it as a blueprint for the next body in your next incarnation. But it's the etheric body where heavy energies get stuck.
Okay.
And if let's say for you are extremely angry with me and you blast me and that energy gets stuck in my etheric body and I carry that over into the next lifetime, I've carried over your energy. So it does make a difference. It does make a difference. And so cleansing our auras through healing work is extremely important.
And you can also do it through bathing.
Yes.
Salt baths.
Salt baths.
Yep.
There are a lot of different ways to
tuning forks, singing bowls, chimes, bells, anything that makes sound.
One of my favorites is to take my singing bowl, place it on my solar plexus, and tap it, and that radiates throughout all my chakra system. So there are a lot of ways to do it, but it's an interesting concept. Interesting. You have your way of perceiving it. I have my way, and
let's see if we can still be friends.
But we're both right and both wrong. Neither one of us is wrong.
Neither one of us is right, none of us wrong.
Neither one of, yeah.
Because it is about perspective, and We make our own realities here and in the next life. Over in the spirit realm, wherever we're at, we make our own reality, and so.
And tomorrow, my reality, my perspective may change.
Yeah, and that's growth.
And that's happened all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
How many times have we looked at each other and go, "You're different today."
Yeah.
Well, I learned something.
Mm-hmm.
Now my perspective has changed. So it's an interesting one. This is a very interesting world to be a part of. The metaphysical world, because if you're truly devoted to growth and evolution through the soul,
you have to look at everybody's perspective.
You have to
openly.
Openly.
Yeah, and you may not adopt it, but you can't criticize or what's the word I'm looking for? Condemn. That's a good word. Their perspective, because it is theirs, and you have to allow people to have their own perspectives.
Absolutely.
They're on their own path too. So
it's their path.
Yeah.
And you and I were both cradle Catholics, and even though I am not a practicing Catholic, I have a sister who's devoted to it, a brother who was devoted to Catholicism, and that's their path. That's what their soul needed to learn and understand in this particular lifetime.
Yep.
My sister's one of those people who needs to be told what to do. Me, on the other hand,
it never made any sense to me. So what do you guys think? Let us know. Drop us a comment, like it, share.
Make sure you subscribe, share it with other people. If you really enjoyed it, please comment. We'd love to hear your comments, and we'd like to hear your ideas on future videos.
Yeah.
So
we can't come up with everything, so.
That's true. And we can't grow without nice people like you sharing and subscribing. So until then, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.